Okay, so we've been doing some general adjustments, just correcting our clips up. Now, obviously, we'd want to carry on and move on to the next stage, which would be then, um, grading the footage to give it a particular look. But right now, um, I just want to also look at how to export this footage out. So let's say we've done the corrections and actually we're happy. That's all we wanted to do, just sort of correct the footage up, and we want to render it out. Well, we can go to the delivery button at the bottom of Resolve, which will take us to here, and you'll see it shows our timeline, and it will take us to this box here where you can obviously quickly select a preset depending on if you're using like YouTube or Vimeo platforms. You'll see it even does XML. Now an XML really you would only want to use for taking an edit out, because it will give you edit cut information. It can't XML can't retain the color changes you've made. So it's just a text file that says this is how the video was cut together. So that would really only be useful for taking the edit over. In this case, we want to render out our clips. So I've given it a file name, and you can see here we've got the ability to browse for a location. So I've already stuck it in a folder called Resolve Renders. And what it will do is it will render out the whole timeline as a single clip, which is usually what you get. However, we may not want that. We may want to take all these individual clips, because we may be putting a breakdown together or something like that. So you can take individual clip if you wish. And you'll see here the format it's going to stick it into is a QuickTime file, has a few others. I will leave it on that. Let's have a quick look actually if yeah, just seeing what else it sort of has, but I'm happy to go with the QuickTime. And you'll see it uses a codec called DNxHR, which is an Avid developed codec, but it's designed it's an editing codec, so it's designed to allow you to sort of for footage that you're working on in post. And given that we may still, like I said, want to do that, DNxHD actually might be a better option. I'll explain why. So you can see there's a whole range of them, and you might be like, well, that's quite a lot. Okay, forget the uncompressed again, because unless you're using uncompressed to start with, there's no point going to uncompressed at this stage. You'll see you can do QuickTime as a H.264, so you could use H.264 compression. So if you're done and you want to render it out to view, then you might go for that. But I'm going to go for the DNx HD. So this footage, as I mentioned, is actually ProRes. So it was shot on a camera that used a ProRes codec. So ProRes is more of the sort of Apple version of basically this type of codec as well, but it's designed again as an editing codec, something that you can work on for post-production. And these clips, which I already mentioned, in fact, you can see it's part of their name, Apple ProRes. Yeah, or I don't know if it's in their name, sorry, but in the details there, ProRes 422. So 422 is a 10-bit codec. So you can see we've got some options here. So there's no point going for a 12-bit. It's going to give me a larger file size, but it's not going to give me anything additional really back. They're 10-bit. So something like this DNxHD 10-bit here would be a useful one. By the way, you'll see a series of numbers. These basically relate to sort of the data rate that you have, and you can see a lot of these other ones are 8-bit anyway. There's another 10-bit here, but it says 1080i, so an interlaced video. This wasn't interlaced, so there's no point going for that. So I'm going to just go for the 1080p 10-bit there. Okay, so that should do fine. You can see there's a 444, and again, like I said, this was 422 Chrome subsampling. If you remember, we've covered that before. So yeah, that will do. 1080p 10-bit. There we go. So I'll select that. And apart from that, I'm going to skip the audio tab. You can see there's some settings there that you can use and change the audio codec if you wish, but I'm fine leaving it with linear PCM. But I'm going to go to the file here. And so I've selected individual clips rather than a single clip. So the only thing I would say with that is, so there's a the name of the file there. But if you sort of don't add, say something like use unique file names, what will happen is you'll see in your folder, it will render out the first file with that name, and then it will render out the next video clip with the same name. So it will just overwrite it. So you'll end up with one video file at the end. So you do need to tick use unique file names if you're going to select individual clips. Okay, and you do have the option then to add a unique name as either a prefix or a suffix, so either before or suffix, sorry, before or after the file name. I'll leave it as a prefix, that's fine. So it's going to add something unique just to the beginning. There may be some options there as to what that is, but I'm not too concerned. So I'm quite happy with that. So what I'm going to do then is just add to render queue, and you'll see it pops up here. And then I should just be able to click start render. And what should happen if I pull this up, you'll see is it's adding that, as you can see, as a prefix. So there's my file name graded01, but it's adding that in before. Yep, and it's just, there you go, and I've got 5 files and it's done. And that's a bit better for me to carry on working now in post, because I've got each individual clip rather than a series of all of them in one timeline. So there you go, you can kind of see it playing there. Okay, just the first clip, and then I've got all the other clips there too. So that's how you basically render out through DaVinci Resolve.